Little Red Riding Hood, a magical forest tale. Once upon a time, in a small village on the edge of a vast forest, there lived a little girl known by everyone as Little Red Riding Hood because of the beautiful red cloak with a hood she always wore. One sunny morning, her mother baked some cookies and said, "Dear, your grandmother is feeling unwell. Please take these cookies to her. Remember, stay on the path and don't talk to strangers." With a basket in hand, filled with warm cookies and a jar of honey, Little Red Riding Hood kissed her mother goodbye and ventured into the forest. The birds sang, and the sunbeams danced through the leaves, making her journey pleasant. However, lurking in the shadows was a sly and hungry wolf. He spotted Little Red Riding Hood and concocted a wicked plan. "Hello, little girl," said the wolf, trying to sound as friendly as possible. "Where are you off to this fine day?" "To my grandmother's house, at the edge of the forest," she replied, forgetting her mother's warning about talking to strangers. The wolf thought of a plan to get to the grandmother's house first. "Why not pick some beautiful flowers for her? I'm sure it would make her very happy," he suggested. Delighted by the idea, Little Red Riding Hood wandered off the path to pick flowers. Meanwhile, the wolf dashed to the grandmother's house, where he gobbled the old lady up in one bite and then dressed in her clothes to trick Little Red Riding Hood. When she finally arrived, Little Red Riding Hood noticed her grandmother looked very strange. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. "All the better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my dear."
"And grandmother, what big teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with," roared the wolf, jumping out of bed. Just as the wolf was about to pounce, a woodcutter working nearby heard the commotion and rushed into the house. With one swift motion, he saved Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother, who was miraculously unharmed in the wolf's belly. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood remembered her mother's advice and never strayed from the path again. The villagers were relieved, and the story of her adventure in the woods was told over and over, reminding children to always be cautious and listen to their parents. And so Little Red Riding Hood, her grandmother, and their brave woodcutter friend lived happily ever after, in a village where the cookies were always warm and the dangers of the forest were kept at bay by the wisdom of the past.